following workshop is presented by National Educational Consultant Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu.
Are you going to accept Mrs. Jones's offer to be in honor classes?
Are you kidding? I can see it right now. All of my friends talking about me and calling me a nerd.
I know the feeling. They still call me stuck up because of the grades I get and the way I talk. That's why I dropped out of honors classes.
I think it's harder on the brothers myself. If you can't fight, play ball, or get high, you're just not with it.
Well, I'm not trying to compare, but sisters are vicious.
Listen, why don't we cut 9th period geometry? You want to go to the park?
Word, let's get out of here right now.
All right, let's go.
I'm a consultant across the country in a program titled Closing the Gap between white and black students. The average white European child in the Iowa, California test is scoring at the 60th percentile. The average black African American child is scoring at the 30th percentile. Now, we believe there are 5 major reasons for this gap. One reason has to deal with teacher expectations. There are many teachers who lower expectations for black students. Another reason for this gap lies in parental involvement. There are some parents that are not involved and supportive of their children's education. Another reason has to deal with student self-esteem. There are many children that do not feel good about themselves, that do not like the way they look. Another reason for this gap lies in the curriculum. It's not motivating, it's not relevant, and also learning style. Children learn in different ways. And many teachers give left brain lesson plans for large numbers of right brain thinking students. But the major reason, or one of the reasons we're going to look at today for this gap, lies in peer pressure. There are 5 major reasons for this gap: teacher expectations, parental involvement, student self-esteem, the curriculum, and peer pressure. And we wanted you to be with us today because we want to look at the impact of peer pressure on academic achievement. What we're getting at is that it's very possible for parents to be doing their job, for teachers to be doing their job, and it all go for naught because the black peer group is more concerned about what kind of gym shoes or sneakers they wear, what kind of clothes they wear, how well they dance, fight, and play basketball. Is there anyone in this audience that has had a negative encounter with peer pressure, a situation where your peer group was not reinforcing academic achievement? Can anyone give some example of how their peer group was not encouraging them to do a good job in school? Anyone?
Yes.
Judy?
I have an incident like in our class we have free bells, it's like a study hall. And some people who have study hall will ask other students who drive to school, like instead of studying for a test, to take them somewhere to get something to eat or whatever. And if they say no, then they'll say, well, you're a nerd for staying to study. You don't have to study. I mean, study tomorrow when you get home, or, you know.
And again, the person that had the study hall had the card. And they were trying to get that person to leave study and go get them something to eat?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else with an example where negative peer pressure did not reinforce academic achievement? Anyone else? An example like that? Where your friends did not encourage you to do a good job in school? Anyone else? With a situation where your peers did not reinforce academic achievement?
So it's sort of like...
Well, that's because you have some that do and some that don't.
Some that do and some that don't. But
describe those that don't.
They don't really, it's not that they tell you don't go to school or something like that, but I have people who say, well, why don't you come over my house? And then we'll do so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, well, I have to go to class because I have already missed so many days out of class. And it's like, well, you can miss one more day. No, I can't. So I go to school anyway. But, and then some, you should really come to class because you're missing out on so much.
Okay, a little later on we're going to talk about which way do you side, with those that reinforce or those that don't. In my latest book titled, To Be Popular or Smart, we also interview students across the country, those that had good friends and those that had bad friends. And I just want to share with you an excerpt from one of the brothers named Lamont, who was one of the ones influenced by the negative peer group. This is what Lamont had to say. I can get an A on any test I want. It doesn't matter whether it's biology, algebra, English, history, drafting, or gym. In some of my classes, there have been 5 tests, and I've gotten 5 different grades. I've gotten an A, B, C, D, and F. It's hard being serious the entire year. I got too many distractions to be in honors classes, but I don't want my partners to tease me and call me a fag. I usually sit in the back of the class and clown, and sometimes I don't go to class at all. I'm tight with my friends, and the women love me. I don't see the guys respecting the nerds or the women chasing after them. I would like to get A's or B's. It would really get my parents off my back. But I can't be serious for 40 straight weeks. Plus, I'd rather be down with my partners. Has anybody experienced something like that? Where you've got an A, a B, a C, a D, and an F? In other words, you can turn it on when you want to turn it on. You can turn it off when you want to turn it off. But many of us have a real difficult time being serious the entire year. And we have to work on that. I want to look at some questions. I want to ask this group, how do you act white? See, there's a rumor going around Cincinnati. There's a rumor going around that when black youth are doing a good job in school, they get teased. When the brothers are doing a good job in school, they're called a chump or a nerd or a fag. And I've even heard in some cases that when black youth are doing a good job in school, you're acting white. Now that's deep. If being smart is acting white, what does being black mean? I now want to first of all ask this group, how do you act white? And then we'll go into how do you act black. How do you act white?
Well, from my experience, a lot of people that I've talked to say that, I may act white or whatever because of the way that I speak, because I don't use a lot of slang a lot of times unless I'm just joking around. And when I want to get something done or be assertive or serious, I speak, proper English. Or it might be the way that you act or the way that you carry yourself. A lot of
So
people,
when you speak proper English, they say you're acting white?
yes.
Okay, and what else are you saying? You're saying when you act a certain kind of way? How do you act a certain way that causes people to call you acting white?
If you're not like using slang or walking a certain way or doing certain things that the stereotypical black person would do, then you're acting white.
Okay, and remember, if we know what acting white is, we have to also know what acting black is. How do you act black? If acting white is speaking proper English and walking a certain kind of way, how do you act black? Does anyone know how to act black? Okay, anything else? Have you heard that comment that to be smart is to act white? Okay, so when you act black, what does that mean? I mean, if acting smart is acting white, then how does that relate to grades for acting black? Is that right?
I guess, yeah. That's what it's saying. If you're smart, you must be white. If you're black, then you must be dumb. Because white people say we don't know anything anyway.
Okay. And what is a nerd? Does anybody know what a nerd is? I understand that we definitely don't want to be called a nerd. I mean, that's the worst thing to ever be called. What is a nerd?
Who's always in their books, who's always worried about getting their grades and getting A's and has a less social life.
Now, would acting like a nerd make you popular with your students, with your friends?
Your other nerdy friends, but
Oh, you're nerdier friends, right? Okay.
not the in crowd, not the people who are popular and are worried about how their hair looks or what's happening at the football game. You could
The
be
in crowd is into what? The hair, how your hair
more
looks?
social life, and the nerdy people are more into their books and trying to achieve something for themselves.
And in most schools, are there more nerds or more people in the in crowd?
More people in the in crowd.
In the in crowd, okay. And we need to work on that. I want to now ask, which group, or in terms of Asians, why do Asian Americans do a very good job in school? Why do Asian Americans do a very good job in school?
They constantly study.
Okay, so they study more. To reinforce your point, Kevin, on the SAT, the average Asian on the SAT is scoring 920. And the average white European student is scoring 908. And the average black African American student is only scoring 700. Now, you gave one reason for this gap, and that is the average Asian studies 12 hours a week. The average white student studies 8 hours a week. And we only study 5 hours a week and watch more TV than anybody else in America. Any other reasons why Asians do a very good job in school?
Well, their parents kind of emphasize schoolwork a lot.
Okay, so their parents reinforce academic achievement, and you think that sometimes their parents may reinforce achieving more than African American parents? Okay, don't worry. I know that's not the case with your parents. But let's go on to the second part of the question. Why do African Americans do such a good job in sports? In the NBA, 86% of the NBA basketball starters are black, except in Boston. But only 1% of the engineers and doctors in this country are black. Why is it that black students, black people, do a better job in sports and music than they do in other areas? Is it ability? What is it?
They concentrate more on sports and, like, just saying, like, in school, since they were young, their peer pressure influenced them to, you know, go with the in crowd in sports and dance, so therefore they emphasize that more. So now when they get older, they still emphasize that.
Okay, so you're saying the black in crowd is reinforcing the sports and music, and the Asian in crowd is reinforcing study? Okay. Yes, Charlotte?
Also, you spoke of expectations. If someone expects that you are naturally inclined in this area, that's sort of where you get groomed.
Okay.
And if someone naturally expects that you are not academically sound, then you will be groomed away from that.
So you're saying when adults see our students in the school, and they see an Asian student, they automatically assume this person may be well-versed academically, and when they see a black student, this person may be well-versed in sports and music? Okay, so we have to work on the issue of expectations, and that's a serious issue that we have to look at. We want to also look at some characteristics of lower achievers and higher achievers, and I just want to find out that some of these things apply to you. We want to look at the underachievers, those students that were not doing well in school, and these are some of the things that they did, and I want to find out, do you do some of those things? The underachievers, remember, these students are very smart. They just don't want to do well. They're very smart. They just do not want to do well. Some of them cut class. I'll make it even easier. We won't say you. Do you know any of your friends who are pretty good in school in terms of ability, but sometimes cut class? Do you know anyone like that? Okay. We also notice that some of them don't even attend class at all. I mean, they miss school altogether. I mean, they left home. Their parents think they went to school, but they never showed up for division. Anyone you know that's acted like that? What about sitting in the back of the class? Do you know any of your friends that sit in the back of the class? I'm going to make this more at home. Do any of us sit in the back of the class? Okay. We've also noticed that some of the underachievers don't ask questions. That it's not cool to ask questions. Do you know anyone that sits in the back of the class and doesn't ask questions? Do you ask questions? Or do you sit in the back of the class? Which one do you do? You do? In the front of the class or the back of the class? In the middle. Okay, you're in the middle. Okay. We've also noticed that some of the underachievers, they take easy courses. In schools where you only have to take maybe 1 hour class in math or 2 in science, once they get finished with that, they don't take any more. They do not take trig, they do not take calculus or college algebra. Do you know anyone who takes easy courses in high school? Do you all take easy courses in high school? You all taking all the courses? All the way, 4 years of math, 4 years of science? Okay, let's go on. This group also doesn't believe in studying. Okay, they're afraid their peer group is going to call them a nerd. Do you know anyone like that? That also wants to avoid studying? And then lastly, this group does not want to be called a nerd, a brainiac, an Oreo. What's an Oreo? What is an Oreo?
A person who's black on the outside but is white on the inside.
Black on the outside but white on the inside. Now elaborate. I mean, how do you do that?
You're black, you know, you're black, but on the inside you perceive yourself as being white. You do your work and you hang around a lot of white people and you act white. Okay, and remember this group surely would not want to be called an Oreo. And last but not least, this group does not speak standard English. They would never go to a museum, and they always listen to black music. They don't listen to classical music or anything else. They have to listen to a certain kind of music. Now that's the underachievers. But we also have some higher achievers. Is there anyone in this audience who's a higher achiever? Higher achiever. They can tell their peer group no. If you can tell your peer group no, raise your hands. Okay, now we will find out right now if you fit into the higher achiever category. Now, this group, though, also wants to be part of the in crowd. In other words, they decided, I'm going to find a way to be smart and still be part of the in crowd. Some of the things they've done is become an athlete. William, as you well know, you can still be a down brother if you can also play basketball. So you're okay if you're on the honor roll. If you also, you can okay in terms of playing basketball if you're also on the honor roll. So you can do both. Or the class clown. Does anyone in the audience know how to be the class clown? You get A's in school, but you tell good jokes. And because you tell good jokes, then you're part of the in crowd. Is there anyone in this audience who knows how to be the class clown?